Nearly got me. Episode 37 of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. You nearly got some tears out of me. And it's been a long time. Frieren, it's been a long time since this series has really, like, gut punched me. Like, an episode where, like, the emotion's there's loss or some sort of tragedy, or that feeling of what you lost is really the thing there. I think Frieren Beyond Journey's End as a whole, the story has been a lot about what you missed out on. This regret that you have. But this episode 37, why it obviously hit me is the perspective of the memoirs. This is the words, the writing of Himmel. Somebody that is now obviously hitting Frieren as somebody that's special. And she's reading the words that he left behind. And I love how the anime, unlike the manga, shows it from a first-person perspective. Like, as Frieren is reading this, she's reading it from his eyes. What he sees, what he's looking at any particular moment. And she's pointing out that it's mundane crap. Like, this is just everyday crap of a bunch of goofballs traveling around doing dumb stuff. And he's writing the stupidest. And find out later on that he's writing, like, catchphrases in this stupid thing. But they're his words. That's what hits me. There's nothing more special than finding, like, writings or pictures or just a video or something of somebody that you haven't seen for so long. Somebody you thought has gone, because it almost gives a voice to the dead, because she never read this before, and he mentioned at some point that he lost it, like, oh crap, damn, he just lost it. She never read it. Now she finally sees it, and he's now long gone, and she's able to open it up, and again, it's like suddenly he's in the room again. He's in the room again. She's hearing it, and I think it's so great to kind of see that look in her face that she's happy, and like that smile. That little feeling of, like, nostalgia and, like, I want to be there. That feeling of, like, I wish I can go back to that thing. Like that guy says, like, he sees it and says, wistful. I see that face that you got. Did I really show that? Yeah, you kind of did. Like, she had that look. She had that look that she wanted to be back there, to be at his side or whatever. It's like, again, it got me so bad. Anyways, episode 37 of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Overall, decent episode. I think this was a nice kind of cool down episode after last episode, and I guess the entire arc of Gano. Like, that was an incredible little story arc there to kind of see a little bit of okay, let's travel again. Let's see a couple places really quickly. Get a little bit more, like, back into the usual with, the series and kind of seeing different things that Himmel once did. This first story arc here being about the dragons and ultimately why Himmel himself will charge people for things, which is honestly a very good question mark there. Why does Frieren always go around asking for things? Why doesn't she just help people? So this is kind of answering that question. And again, it's a what would Himmel do situation here. She does everything that Himmel did. It's like, as much as, like, we started the whole story out with the idea that she never paid attention, she was actually paying attention a lot more than that she kind of gave off. The entire way that she handles things is what Himmel did. That way of thinking just kind of get burned into her. But anyways, this first little segment here, obviously having them enter this one village that has been attacked by not just a dragon, but an entire flight of dragons, which is shocking to, Stark and Fern, but at the same time, completely normal to this town. I like that whole thing. Like, why are they acting like this is normal? Like, one dragon's bad enough, but entire flight normally attacking? What is this place? Northern Plateau is a scary place. I look at the two of them just there shaking. But yes, at some point, Frieren's like, yeah, you guys should get out of here. And it kind of goes back to, like, the thing they had with the first, house that they ran into, this idea of, like, why don't you just leave? Oh, we can't leave. This is our home. And this time, for some reason, Stark's going, wait, we have to actually help them. Unlike the first time where it was like a complete reverse there. But yeah, anyways, Frieren's like, yeah, you got to pay us. What are you going to pay us? Well, we don't have much, but we have a useless grimoire that helps you say things very, very quickly without biting your tongue. Yeah, sure. It's like, that seems like useful. Yeah, you got a deal. But yeah, we did eventually, again, find out that at some point that the reason why, again, that she does accept, some sort of payment is because what Himmel thought. Now, at first, listening to Himmel talk, it sounded very odd what he's saying here, but essentially the concept here is that, yes, every time they went somewhere, he always asked for some sort of payment. What do you have that you can pay us? Well, this is all we have. We have this basket full of, like, some, shrooms that we found in a nearby tree. This is all that we have to eat for today, but here you go. Thank you so much for saving us. And they're like, dude, Himmel, we can't take this. We just saved them, or we're going to allow them to starve. Like, we have more food in our bags than what they have in that basket for this entire village. So it turned this whole thing where Himmel's like, okay, well, that over there, that grimoire. I thought it was going to turn into a thing where it's like, he was always just trying to find grimoires for Frieren, but no, he's just like trying to find something. What is that old book over there? Oh, that's not a grimoire. That's just like an old book that has some information, a diary from a traveling merchant. We don't have a use for it. Oh yeah, we'll just take that. And then it turns into Himmel's little memoir books. Okay, I'll just write my memoirs in here on a daily basis. It's got something of a payment from them. They didn't care about it. It's a win-win. But it's like this aspect of like he, as a hero party, doesn't want people to feel like they owe the party something. Which, again, I don't see that makes much sense, because a hero always saves people. Everybody's going to always owe them, and they're never really going to pay you what you expect. Like, if a dragon is coming down and killing the village, and then the hero shows up and takes it down, I don't think giving it an old used diary from a traveling merchant was enough payment. I would still feel like I'm indebted to them. But it is the idea here, is a transaction that's happening, thus they don't feel like they have to give you something. You're just taking something. I think it's better the idea of feeling like you at least gave the hero party something in return to aid them. I think there is sort of this kind of positive effect of like, we did our part. We kind of handed them something they needed to continue their journey. We gave them food for the night. We gave them a room to stay in. They were able to get well rested so the next day they can go out there and they're at full strength, and thus they will not get struck down. Something of an aid, not necessarily having to be a payment or a transaction that happens. But that's Himmel's perspective. I don't want them to owe me something, because otherwise that's not being a hero. That's feeling indebted to them. I don't want them to feel indebted to me, and that's why we're doing this. Again, I don't see that it changes much, but it's what Himmel feels like, and it gives Ferry an excuse to get books. I think that's really, in the end, right. Can we just accept that, right? Because in the end, Ferry does kind of turn people away, and even with money, like with the dwarf, the guy was like, I'll give you a bunch of money, and she's like, no, that's not. If she was accepting that, it would be what Himmel said. No, she wanted a book. She wanted a book. Anyways, I think it's just an excuse for her to get grimoires. I think it's legit just an excuse to get grimoires. But anyways, yeah, they go to, track this thing. Interesting thing here with the dragons and the idea that they were utilizing some sort of spell to essentially take the essence, the remaining essence that were left behind, and turn it into a tracking device. Interesting that the anime kind of turns it into like a compass. This little compass that she's able to use going around. I like the perspective shots. Again, utilizing the whole like first person perspective, always having the compass and seeing like the landscape around Frieren kind of changing. I thought it was kind of cool. Nice little addition there. But yes, eventually finding the dragons, and it's an entire nest. It's an entire flock, and I love this little scene here because it's like this little back and forth between, Frieren and Stark, and the idea that like it's another one of those situations where we're going to send in Stark first to kind of lure them into a location and blast them all at once. And he's like, well, this time make sure to help, referring to the first time he fought a dragon. And then she's like, well, as long as you don't kill them all first, again, referencing the first fight with the dragon. And sure enough, Stark went down there. He was wrecking stuff. Like, he was just piling through all of them, just taking them all down until eventually, yes, one bites down on his head, his skull. But yeah, he nearly had it all soloed. Again, like Stark, this dude's like so freaking OP. I love it. But yes, cutting to afterwards, and he's bleeding from the head. Luckily, they had a church nearby. I don't know if I should look too much in the conversation afterwards. They kind of mentioned something to the effect of, it seems like something to do with warriors, that they are extremely durable. Like, you had this dragon literally chomping on your head. Why aren't you hurt more? I don't know. Stark's like, I don't know. Wakanda, I don't know. And then them like referencing the fact that Aizen was the same way. It seemed like a warrior thing. Aizen also, they never really took damage like most people would. They're not like, again, Frieren and Fern, where like easily, like they're glass cannons. They just get hurt so easily. That's why they have to have barriers and whatnot. I don't know. I kind of assume that in this world they have a similar thing to like a Mushoku Tensei battle aura, or most series, like a battle aura type of thing that warriors can sort of infuse themselves with mana subconsciously to protect themselves. That's my assumption there. There's got to be something sort of like an infusing of mana that kind of makes them stronger. I don't recall them ever really getting into something specific with the series overall, but that seemed to be what they're kind of implying there. But anyways, they get their payment, and again, talk about the whole reason why they take the payments, and then we go on to the second part, which the second part has them come to a lake, and they're looking to get a ferry across, and there's like this massive storm happening there. they get into sort of this odd ecosystem that seems to be there because this lake is so large, because of the placement of the mountains and everything. It seems to cause this area to have a very nasty blizzard storm in the area, despite this being a lake. And yes, that makes, ferrying across very, very difficult. The guy's like, hey, that's a ferry, not a coffin. If you want to cross, come back later after winter, basically. And then at this point, we have Frieren basically give an excuse that, hey, we don't want to go around. Ferrying across is difficult. I could fly, but yeah, Fern can't do it, and we can't carry Stark, so we're just going to have to stay here for a while. We're going to stay here for a few months. I like the little glances. Stark's like glances up at Fern. Fern glances up at Stark like, she wants to stay here and buy books. Let's just go along with this, whatever. She wants to read her little books. It's fine. She's been a good girl. We'll give her a couple months to enjoy her books. Montage of her just reading a bunch of crap and them all laying around lazily. Before eventually, yes, they get to the ferry, and the ferry's like, oh, yeah, you still gotta pay me. And yeah, you ain't got enough money. Which just turns into them going to a little island to find the memoirs of Himmel. I love this whole bit so freaking much because of how they kind of portrayed it. The idea that she walks in the room, she immediately recognizes it, walks immediately to that one book, picks it. I mean, it's on the altar. Walks immediately to that book, picks it up, and immediately knows the handwriting. Yeah, this is Himmel's handwriting. Sees the visuals, the perspective of Himmel, looking at everybody, looking at Frieren. And I'm like, oh, good. The messages and the wording from him, his perspective, his life, his voice, really. Again, that's the main thing. Something you've never heard before, but it kind of is something you can totally hear them saying that you'd never heard before. So you're not listening to a recording. You're listening to fresh new words that you knew that they would probably say because it is literally their words. It was, again, really well portrayed. They could have totally made it worse. They could have had a lot of him talking over the top of it, what exactly he said, some goofy little things that he noted, and that would have completely destroyed me. But thankfully, it didn't because I was able to get the tears in. It was good though. It was good though. And again, her confronting the guy, saying, "Here's the payment," and him immediately going, "No. I heard there was a mage with the group, an elf mage, and that's you, right? How did you tell?" The look on your face. The look on your face told me everything. It didn't say, "Oh, this is great." It didn't say, "Ooh, the words of Himmel, the hero." It says, "I want to be there again. I want to go back to those days." That whole thing. It was good. It was good. I like this guy. I was like, yeah, just take that damn thing. There's plenty of stuff in here that's going to make me plenty of money. There's a bunch of books here there's a wealth of knowledge here that is worth a fortune. I'll grab one of these other books. We're good. Now, I did kind of skip it here, but yes, while they are traveling on the boat, at some point they note there's a whole bunch of ships out there. There's a bunch of traveling happening across this large lake at this time of the year, but especially right now, there's more than usual. And why that is because apparently there's word or rumor of this like land of gold. There's a place that everything created there is made of gold. And it seems like everybody's trying to find that. Now, of course, there's a question mark. Is this even real? Is this just a rumor? Is this BS or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I've never really actually met anybody that's been there. It's just, it could be a tall tale, whatever. But it cuts to Frieren, and she has a little bit of a look there. In the manga, it just cuts to her, and she kind of has a look, and there's a ... In the anime, it's giving more emphasis on something that we actually seen, I think, even in this season previously. They're emphasizing this same demon once again, that she's before this demon and she's injured, and I'm assuming this demon has something to do with this tale. Because it's being brought up now. A golden land, everything is made of gold. Is it just a rumor? Why would Frieren think about this demon at this particular time? It makes me believe that there is a land of gold that this demon is, defending. I'm kind of wondering if it might be a rumor that she knows this demon creates. Like, this demon knows how humans act, and they know that if they say there's a place full of gold, people will come there. And that Frieren, maybe potentially before she even met Himmel, because I don't see Himmel or anybody in there, she's there alone, injured. Did Frieren herself go there? Or was this one of the demons that attacked her town originally and it talked about gold? I don't know. There's got to be a reason why she thought of that particular demon at that particular time. But we'll see. Then again, it could be tied into why Dinkin's up there. I'm wondering if they're bringing this up now because Dinkin's story is going to cover that. Because yes, in this episode, it opened up with Dinkin. I forgot to mention that at the very beginning of this video. Yeah, I thought this entire episode was going to be about Dinkin. It opens up with him and he's reading some little note there. I'm guessing it's going to be his mission that was given to him by Sere or something like that. But he's traveling with, I think, the mercenary group of the Northern Plateau area. And at some point, they drop him off somewhere and he's like, yeah, I'm good here. You got to walk anyways. And he just walks off, and that was like all we see. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's not a Dinkin episode. I kind of like Dinkin. I liked his little bit in the exams. I thought he was pretty cool. You know, him and Loffin's all the time. That was another thing there. I was like, cool. Maybe we'll get more Loffin too, because I love Loffin's character. So nope, we're just just popping up. But again, I'm wondering if those two stories are tied. That the reason why this is being brought up now is that because I do know in the manga, I didn't read the whole thing because I didn't see it in this segment of the anime. In the manga, it does show Dinkin run into somebody and talk to them. So maybe potentially that's where he's going to go. Maybe that'll be in the next episode. I don't see why they would bring up this now unless it's at least going to be in the next episode or the finale. But anyways, as Frieren and all them go to leave, she ends up finding the catchphrase inside of the book. And then Stark's like trying to do one of them. And then suddenly a Kraken pops out of nowhere. And she's like, oh, you taunted it. You made it come here. And then suddenly Frieren's picked up. You got to make sure to go for this weak point right here. I'll leave it to you. Fern's like, she's using the spell that makes her to where she can talk really fast without biting her tongue. It's so dorky. Stark's like, why the hell are you guys acting so like nonchalant about this? What, we're like in a life or death situation with a Kraken. What the hell's wrong with you people? It's super good. It's super good. Again, like I said, nice little kind of cool down after the heavy crap around Gano and stuff. It was a good little episode, but anyways, I think that was pretty much the episode. Really good stuff. Despite it not being like the most incredible episode, it was a nice little cool down period, honestly. Some really good perspective shots of the characters. I love, again, everything around Himmel's little segment right there in the memoirs. Some good stuff. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content and you want to support the channel more, become a member. Until next time, you'll take care.